Is worship something that is just a single element, or are there numerous facets to it, all of which come together to bring a brilliance, the same as a diamond would? A diamond is a single diamond, but it has numerous facets on it. Can we look at worship kind of the same way, Barry?
As you say that, I'm thinking, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. And,
Well,
you
there you go, bringing poetry into it.
well, you can tell your spouse or your loved ones, I love you, but there's more than one way to communicate that to them. You can do
Mhm.
so verbally, you can do through actions, gifts, a variety of ways. So last week we focused on the aspect of whether or not music is required. Music
Mhm.
certainly is a major means of worship. It's a great enhancement. It sets the mood. It brings to mind things to contemplate. It involves the emotions, and on the list goes. It's a very favorable thing. As we said last week, we have become perhaps music dependent.
Mm.
That if there's not music playing, that we're kind of fish out of water. We don't know what to do in the acts of worship. Um, but I think today we may discover there's an alternative, not an alternative, an additional means of worship.
Let's put it kinda like this. Let's say that, once a week, you have a time in which you decide to bring your wife flowers, and, you go out to dinner, and you spend, extra quality time with them, but the rest of the week, you don't say a word to them. You gotta go through your week, and, you don't pay much attention to them. You don't say anything. Once in a while, you'll acknowledge something like, "Wow, thanks for dinner, that was good. Good morning," those kind of things, but you really don't pay much quality attention. How's that relationship gonna be?
A token relationship at best.
Oh, there you go. That's a good word for it. So a token relationship, but then if you go through your whole week, Barry, with that kind of attitude of just, good morning, good night, thank you for dinner, whatever. But then at the end of the week, it's like, hey, honey, here's some flowers, and let's go out to dinner, and let's do that, da, 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 all these things. After a while, they're probably going to catch on that you're not quite as sincere about that evening and the events of that evening as you're acting like is because kind of maybe it's you're wanting something for yourself. You're wanting your own emotions, your own desires fulfilled. And so what's done during the week is it cannot be overcome by, kind of a little extra on one night.
The analogy is not very veiled, Mike. It's pretty blunt and very apropos. I mean, it's commonly done. Not making any accusations to anybody, but that's the I started to say the American way. It's not so much the American; it's the Western mindset way. And there are many nations that are involved in a Westernized culture. Um, Religion, as many would reference, is what you do on a set day of the week, and it may culturally guide your decisions, but it really doesn't affect your day-to-day routine that much. So the other extreme is everything you do and say is quote unquote religious, or you know uh, I can't make a decision unless I bow down and pray in the middle of the street type thing. So it comes down to worship is about fostering fostering and developing our relationship with our Creator.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
as you say, if we're only showing up on Shabbat with enthusiasm and zeal about who He is and what He has done, He's wise enough to catch a clue.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows it pretty well. So here's the thing that this thing called worship should affect every aspect of our lives. Okay, in a relationship, whether it's with the spouse, our children, whatever, they know that when we go through our daily life, and it is evident to them that every decision that we are making in our life is something that we are seeking to affect them in a positive manner. That everything that we do is, you've always kind of got them in the back of your mind, whether it be a purchase you're making. If I make this purchase, is it going to be something that is going to keep me from being able to be a blessing to them in some way? So if I see this wonderful sports car that, I've always wanted this two-seater sports car, but I have a family of 6. But I decide that no, I'm going to buy this sports car, and you're just going to have to stay home with the children so that, because there's not enough room in the car for all 6 of us, but I'm going to have my sports car. That's making a decision that's based upon me. Whereas if I go to the same car lot and they have this beautiful sports car, but then they have this 7-passenger minivan, and I can't stand driving a minivan, but I put my needs on in a place that is subservient to their needs. Is that not a form of, could we put this into, maybe we need to broaden the word worship then into worship is not something we do, but it is something that is just a part of our very makeup, our being, and everything that we are involved in on a weekly basis, on a daily basis.
Well, then, could it be that worship is the consistent awareness of His greatness? And
Okay.
I if I'm to make a financial decision, a relationship decision, a whether I stay in one town or move to another, all of those kinds of decisions, even down to I go to a restaurant and I look at the menu and I make food choices based on I am aware of who you are. I am aware that you are aware of me and everything about me. And I make my choices out of love and obedience to you. Um, I heard someone say many years ago when we first started teaching a group about the dietary commands. Um, it was unsettling to folks that had always been told, "Eat what you want." It's
Mhm.
all as long as you pray over it, it's okay. After we've been on that for a couple weeks or so, it was agreed, that the word is the word, and it was true. But a man was looking at the floor saying, "I just can't help but think that maybe he made a mistake about scallops." And, he abstained um, from the scallops from then on that I know of. But it was like, man, I sure did love them. Making the choice, even though the taste buds are
Mhm.
craving. I learned that Mike, I remember when we were going to Israel for the first time with you, and I can take you to the place where I was sitting in our dining room here. I almost had my head in my hands wondering, but they don't have bacon. What will I eat for breakfast? And I
Smoked
thought,
herring.
well, you know what? I can starve for a couple of weeks and be okay. I'll find something to eat. I came
Mhm.
home and gained weight. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah, I
crazy.
know, I know.
But after a while, you know, and this is just a small thing here, but after a while, your cravings and taste buds change, and the idea of putting something that you used to desire and have an appetite for into your mouth, it's nauseating. Even to
Mhm.
smell it cooking, even the thought of it almost flips your stomach. The same thing in our daily choices, patterns of behavior, choices that we used to make in a sinful attitude, out of a heart of worship, awareness of who he is, yearning for his approval and acceptance and favor and smiling upon our lives, you know, yearning for that more than you yearn for the satisfaction of the flesh. It's an ongoing battle, but the
Mhm.
more that we yield to him, that's a worshipful heart. It is a consistent awareness of who he is and what he desires for us. Yes, Master, out of my love for you, my adoration for who you are, I will gladly yield my will and my desires to yours.
And this comes into different aspects we really wanted to talk about this week is our worship can also or should also go into the things that he has given to us and the way we treat those things. You know, if someone gives you a gift, you may like the gift, you may not like the gift. I've been given, you know, as a father, a grandfather, you've been given some really dumb gifts, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't wear ties. You haven't seen me wearing a tie in 10 years. So why did you buy me a tie? And besides that, why did you buy me an ugly tie? You know, but yet you hang on to it. Okay. There's an aspect about it because this that they gave you is something that they gave you. It has a part of them in it. And so you treat things, your kids, your grandkids buy you a present that is it's just totally ridiculous. You're thinking you put no thought in this. Yes, they did. They may have thought wrong, they may have picked the wrong thing, but they had you in mind when they were going through this process. How you treat that is, you know, if you just the next week decide, well, you know, I'm having a garage sale and I'm going to dump this out on somebody else. Is it about the gift or is it about the person that gave you the gift?
Yeah, yeah,
It's showing respect. So let's take that over to the book of Hosea regarding the northern kingdom, Ephraim. And I don't have the verse with me right now, but kind of a little transliteration that Ephraim has this habit of taking the things that the Father gives to us and not showing respect. Now, how does that come out in our lives? I'll give you one. A good friend passed away, Yaakov Rice, a blessed memory. I think you met Yaakov at Sukkot there, didn't 1 year, right?
1 year. Yeah,
Yaakov made shofars and really single-handedly took the shofar industry to another level in what he was doing with them. And if you were to say to Yaakov, hey, could you blow your shofar? He would look at you and say, you don't blow a shofar, you sound it. It was just something that Yaakov had. It was, you know, I don't call anybody out for saying they're going to blow a shofar because it's in scripture, but for Yaakov, just the wording there bothered him because he wanted to put his whole being into it. And to just use the word blow the shofar was not giving it and the sound and the purpose of all of it. It wasn't giving it the reverence that he wanted for that instrument that the Father had given to him. I've had people go to Israel and want to buy a tallit. And then they said, yeah, I've got a coffee table and I want to put this tallit on it. A prayer shawl should not be a coffee table covering. It should be something that is personal to us. The things that the Father gives us, how are we treating those things?
As you say about the tallit, I'm reminded of watching a video where an Orthodox or observant Jew is demonstrating the proper way to don a tallit,
Mm-hmm.
and you taking it out of its bag or its covering. One of the processes is to pull up the written command around the neckband, and they kiss it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. Somebody's going to cry legalism. No, it's affection for the command, and then they demonstrate the proper way to put it on, and the way that most of us, I've seen it worn is someone from our brother Yehuda's camp would say, "You have no idea what you're doing with that. What are you doing with our stuff?" type thing. Mike, I'm thinking about, we talk about tallits, we talk about shofars, putting mezuzahs on our doors. Do we do that correctly? Well, it doesn't matter. The Father knows my heart.
Yeah. And that's what he says about it too.
What about this?
Well, let me go back to the tallit real quick, and then let's go where you're, because I know where you're going here. I got kind of hit on this one this past Shabbat. We do, as you guys do, we do the blessing over the children. And so I ordered a prayer shawl specifically for the blessing of the children. I went online. I could have gotten one from Abracadabra in China or something, I guess. But I decided to email a friend of mine in Israel who I have a relationship with through the years, shop owner. And I asked him to send me a prayer shawl, which he did. And I carry that. It's in my computer bag, and I have my scripture in there, my bag, my notes, all those kind of things. And this past Shabbat, I got to the congregation and I reached into my bag and I grabbed the prayer shawl for the blessing of the children, and I just tossed it over onto the table. And it was like, don't do that. This is not something to toss around. And so, I mean, that may sound silly to somebody, but for me, it's not silly, because this is a reverent piece of connection between this realm and his realm, to the point that a few weeks ago, I said, okay, all the children come to the front. And one of our grandchildren said, "This is my favorite part." And then to see one of the littler ones reaching up and grabbing the blue threads.
Oh,
I mean, it's like that just melts you. So what was I doing? I was treating what he had given me for a connection to teach our children with, to bless our children with. I was treating it in an irreverent fashion by just taking it out of my computer bag and throwing it over onto the table. Go ahead.
I'm going to probably be accused of being legalistic here as well. That's okay. Yeshua said, "Enter into your prayer closet and shut the door. And then seek your Father and speak to him in secret." Someone gave me a wonderful teaching at one time about pulling the tallit up over your head and closing the tent door flaps, if you will, over your face. And the understanding is that the Father is inside the tent with you, panim al panim, nose to nose, face to face. Like I have yelled at the ceiling, yelled to the heavens, cried out with a loud voice on many an occasion over desperate needs. as if the volume of my voice was necessary in order for him to hear me through the vast space difference.
Yeah.
But there have been times that I've been able to pull that tallit around my face and whisper,
Mhm.
knowing I don't need to yell at him. Every word that's going to come out of my mouth, he's known it before the beginning.
Yeah.
And I just need to announce it to him, speak it to him. So that prayer chamber garment, do you go into the sanctity of you and your wife's bedroom and put up all your sports memorabilia or deer heads or I mean it's it's uh it it's not something you should treat casually. It's a set apart place.
Yeah. Mhm.
um so that garment is, if it's just a decoration, a wall hanging, a tablecloth, a ceremonial something that you do a few times a week or whatever, then we really fail to understand what we possess. So I try to be cognizant of that, that when the Shabbat services are over and I'm putting my things away, to fold the garment a certain way and to do it respectfully
Mhm.
and take care of it. Um, it's not something I want, you just wear out and then go get you another one. It's something you guard and you protect.
Mhm.
Now, all that being said, something you taught me years ago, when it comes to the word,
Yeah.
if this text is sitting on my desk, I don't put my cell phone on top of it. I don't lay other materials on top of it. Nothing should cover the word unless I have another set apart set of scriptures
Yeah.
and I've got them stacked. Sometimes I'm lacking space here.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a scriptures version that I have written from one end to the other, color coded stuff. And when I got this particular version, this I got this leather bound one to try to, because I wear a hardback copy out now, or paperback copy out really bad. I decided I'm not going to add to the word. Now that's not being judgmental against anybody who writes in their text. I'm not judging anybody. But for once, I thought, Father, I'm going to leave the word alone,
Mhm.
because the habit is sometimes, Mike, we start chasing all of the little notes that we made in things on pages, and we're more interested in our scripture trails than we are what the word says. So for this particular version, I've got a
Mhm.
lot of Bibles. I used this the other day making a recording, and this particular text, I don't know if you can see this or not.
Oh, yeah.
I used to preach out of that when my eyes were better. And I can still read it, but when I first started studying and teaching Torah, this New King James is what I taught out of.
Mhm.
This is what I had at the time. It was just a good preaching Bible. You could rip it real good and it wouldn't
Yeah.
weigh you down. Um, I got notes in that and I got notes in others, but this one I said, no, I'm going to leave it alone. Now I've had to go in here and put tape on pages and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
because I don't want to lose this. But
Yeah.
there is an honor to the word, not
Blue
just,
duct tape. Just
oh,
to
I got
keep it,
duct tape on several
yeah,
of them.
to keep it together.
Um, the beauty of the word. I remember the first Bible my dad gave me,
Mm.
and on the inside front flap, he said, read every day. That's all it said, read every day. I wish I had kept that command.
Mm. Yeah,
But you know, David said, "I'll hide your word in my heart that I
mhm,
might not sin against you." I wish I had kept that command too.
yeah. You never know what the word does will do for a person. I mean, I remember I had a neighbor across the street from me in Jacksonville that gave me when I graduated from high school, they gave me a small Bible. It's actually sitting right across the room from me. And I don't know that I've ever read much of it. I don't know that I've read any of it, but they gave this to me. Dorothy, I can't remember her last name, but Dorothy gave me this Bible, and it had my name on it. She had it inscribed with my name, and gave it to me. Uh, when I graduated high school, God was kind of like the last thing on my list of things to do. In traveling to Alabama, to Alaska, back to Arizona, I took that Bible with me. I could not get rid of it. It was like this I had to have with me at all times. Though, as I said, I don't know that I've ever actually opened it up to read it much at all. But I've kept that Bible now for, since 1976. It has become a part of me. So you never know what giving someone a scripture may do for them in years to come. For me, I guess it was subconsciously a reminder of whose I was, though I wasn't really living that life out in any manner. But how we treat the scripture, um, for me, I have some rituals that I do. Again, the same as you. Uh, I never place the scripture on the floor. I don't even care if there's books underneath it. I still won't put it on the floor. Again, you can, as you use the word legalistic. Um, somebody may say, well, that's legalistic. Well, let me tell you, that's judgmental that you believe it's legalistic. So there. Um, so I don't put it on the floor. When I come in, from Shabbat service, it's in my computer bag. Um, I have some stairs come into my office. I don't put it on the stairway. I don't just randomly, I don't put anything on top of it. Never. There's never another book, unless, like you said, unless it's another scripture. And I also don't place it, and this is something Moshe Kapinski taught me, I don't place it with the cover down. I always place it with the cover up, just to show reverence, just to show reverence for the gift that the Father has given me. When I travel, as I have extensively for many years, I do not put my scripture, in the same compartment of my suitcase as my dirty clothes. It's always in a different place. I have a place specifically in my luggage so that the scripture will not be in the same place as my dirty clothes. When I go to Israel, this thing weighs 5 pounds. When you have a limit of 50 pounds on an airplane, your luggage, your suitcase weighs 8 to 10. Here's another 5. This thing's heavy, but I always carry it. Am I using it while yes, but I could have a smaller version. I could have it's on my phone. I've got it on my phone. I've got it on my computer. I want this in my possession. No matter where I go, what I'm doing, this is going to be in my possession. And that is, to me, a facet of worship.
I'm going to cross a few more eyebrows here. I am old school enough. I want the hard copy.
Yeah.
I do not fault anybody for coming to Shabbat and reading the text on their phone. That's fine. Pull it up on your computer, pull it up on your phone. I'm glad that you're reading the word. As for me, I want the hard copy. To me, this is only about me. This is not about anybody else in the world. This is about me. I want the connection. And it's sentimental, yes. It's nostalgic, yes. It is cultural, yes. I get all of that. But I want to be able to open it up and read it on the page. There is something about a Torah scroll, Mike,
Oh yeah.
that when you see a Torah scroll, your heart changes its pace. There's just something, there's an aura
Mm-hmm.
of honor and respect that is due to a Torah scroll.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take a Torah scroll and just throw it on the desk or stack other stuff on top of it. I love the beauty of it being kept in an ark, a set apart cabinet for it. I love the joy that is on many as they embrace it and dance with it. Because I'm thinking of Yochanan, John chapter 1, that the word became flesh. And I've said this phrase many, many times, that Yeshua is the living, breathing, walking, talking Torah scroll. He is the Torah scroll in human form. To embrace the word, to treat the word with respect. It's not, I don't worship this book.
Yeah.
I'm not bowing down to this leather edition printed page. I'm giving honor to the one who spoke the words in it. And I thank him for it. Reading it is one aspect of worship through the word. Obeying it is the highest level of worship.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing that word is another aspect of worship through the word. Hearing the word, listening to someone share the word. There is power and there's unction to be found in the hearing of the word.
Yeah.
And we're out of time.
Showing respect for the gift that he gives you is showing respect for him.
Agreed.
That's my last words.
Thanks, folks, for watching. May something we say today inspire you and encourage you, edify you. We'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, your testimonies on the word. And we'll see you again next week. Looking forward to it. So then, Mike, shalom, brother.
You got it. Thanks, Barry.